In the early modern period, up until the French Revolution, France was ruled by a confused system of aristocratic privilege and absolute monarchy. The socio-political system known as the Ancien Régime was focused on centralization of the state, something France did more successfully and much sooner than nearly all of its neighbors. The Ancien Régime endured several civil wars and countless internal conflicts, state building and unprecedented legislative acts, and a growing discontent and strength among the Third Estate, all of which resulted in the eventual downfall of the Ancien Régime, but influenced European politics and thought for centuries to come. Although the common people of France were eventually responsible for overthrowing the monarchy and Ancien Régime as a whole, throughout most of this time period the Third Estate was largely powerless, fighting more with itself than with the absolutist government. The Hundred Years' War and the Plague, both of which cost France countless lives, led into the Renaissance, which featured the emergence of a political movement to centralize. The Valois and Bourbon dynasties ruled throughout the Ancien Régime, and the rule of Henry IV with the end of the French Wars of Religion could be viewed as the start of this era. As education among the Third Estate began to spread, and the state began to fall apart, the people's discontent reached a breaking point and turned into a revolution, overthrowing the monarchy. However, it would still be many decades before true democracy would reach France. Throughout the Ancien Régime's existence, it was plagued by conflicts. The most significant before the French Revolution was the 30 Years' War from 1618 to 1648, where religious conflict devolved into a war spurred by the French-Habsburg rivalry. This war brought forth a rise of Bourbon-controlled France, with it emerging from the war strengthened and even more dominant. In the midst of the Franco-Spanish War, a major internal conflict emerged known as the Fronde. Parliaments, princes, and common people united in opposition to the absolutist King Louis XIV, and yet the king was still able to defeat the rebellion. The Ancien Régime was characterized by preposterously high taxes on the peasants and growing bourgeois class. Taxing the Third Estate allowed the monarchy to function, but this unjust system ended up being a major reason why the French Revolution happened. Louis XIV ended up being the most influential leader of the Ancien Régime, with his policies and actions making France a leader in centralization. Despite Louis XIV's absolutist nature, a lack of communications technology meant that France was still largely governed locally, with the king living in a very detached world. The Ancien Régime was characterized by royal decadence, with a disdain for the Third Estate being the overall mentality. However, as the 19th century grew nearer, France's participation in multiple largely unsuccessful wars had bankrupted the country, and a lack of food plagued the Third Estate. This state of agricultural chaos, combined with high taxes and the fiery writings of philosophes and revolutionaries, resulted in the downfall of the Ancien Régime. This situation, where a country is governed by an absolute monarchy and centralizes power, but the people eventually bring it down, can also be seen in the time leading up to and after the Russian Revolution. Tsarist Russia endured several civil wars and many internal conflicts, state-building efforts, and, with Alexander II's reign, increased centralization and unprecedented legal acts, and a growing discontent and strength especially among the bourgeoisie, all of which resulted in the eventual downfall of the Tsar, but influenced European politics and thought for years to come.